Okay, hi everybody. Looks like we are live, and I'm going to be going through Bitcoin again today, everybody. So if you are here live, fantastic. If you are going to watch the replay, then comment below the video if you have any questions. Okay, so we're going to be looking at Bitcoin from a long-term point of view, but also I'm going to be looking at potentially the short-term opportunities as well. So I am going to get started in just a moment. I am going to let's get the chat up, and we are good to go. So let's do it, guys. Good morning, Nick. Nice to see you here, mate. So I was kind of looking at the. Let me start with going to the daily chart, and I'll show you what I've kind of concluded here. So let me just get rid of some of these things. So, you know, one of the things that was quite noticeable for me on Bitcoin on the daily chart is the way that this market likes to fall. And if you kind of look at the recent price action right here, you can see that, you know, this is channeling really nicely, and it's similar in the past as well, what we call market angles. And you can see here that recently this market came and found some support here, eventually drifted to the top of this channel, and then had another big drop, and then recently it's just come and hit this area here as well. And I'm just wondering, you know, if this is now going to get some kind of bounce, okay, where maybe we go back to the top of this channel and then we have another drop down. Now let me just show you where I've got some of these lines from. So you can see I really like this zone here. So let me just quickly get my pen up, guys. So this is an impromptu live. I did promise I'd give you a heads up, but I haven't done that. So yeah, so as I was saying, like, you can see that, you know, this line here is very reactive, and what I really love about this level is that it's aligned with this channel. So I like the way that this market has fallen really sharp. Now if you go back over here, look how the market fell sharp, consolidated, and then fell sharp. I feel right now that we're in this kind of consolidation, okay? You don't often see a market crash and then crash immediately again. I mean, it's possible. What often happens is you might go, but it's just gone too quick. So what I'm looking at is a couple of things. I'm essentially waiting for an area where I think this market might bounce, okay? So there's a couple of ways that we can do this. Let me just remove these lines. So if you kind of look at this here, we could create some kind of double bottom and then go and rally up to here. So something like this, okay? Typically how markets like to do it is they like to break low. So another scenario could be that we go towards this zone here, which is essentially the bottom of this channel. We take out this low and we find some support around this kind of area here. Okay, that area roughly is just shy of about 16,000. Okay. Now, what's quite interesting about this area here is that you've got this 1618 coming into this block here as well. So if I'm going to mark down areas of interest, for me it's these blocks right here. I think right now that, you know, going into the market right here doesn't make too much sense for me. I believe that the real value is going to be at this zone here or this zone here. Now, what you can do is you can wait for a if you want to trade momentum, you can wait for a bullish candle formation that goes back above these lines here. So if you kind of look at the structure right now, you can see that the market, you know, found some nice support there. And so if this market is indeed going to go lower, probably what will happen is the market will push a bit more and then maybe come back and react to this area here as resistance and then potentially go lower. Okay, that's one scenario. The other scenario is that we go back, we act as resistance, we push down, like maybe find some demand here like we did here, and then we break that structure. That's where I'm saying you can get involved as a double bottom, because then you've confirmed that break of structure. You can then look to dip in and buy it towards that kind of area there. And then you can use the Fibonacci to kind of come up with a target. So for example, if we take an AB from here to here, you know, depending on where the market comes in, you know, right here you can see you have the 1618 coming in at 24,353. If this goes deeper, then you'll be looking at one of these fibs up here. But generally speaking, the 1618 is going to be the most popular. If it's going to be an overextension, then we're looking at the 200 up here. But that would basically mean most likely a break of this channel line, because if I just get rid of these, because essentially, you know, that would literally have to go up in a straight line. Like some news needs to come out now in the next, you know, day or two. That would just massively propel it all the way up here. You'd almost need like a bar like this. It's highly unlikely that's going to happen right now. As far as I can see, there's nothing in the economic calendar that will make it do that. So I don't think that's going to likely happen. So I think the most likely scenario is if you are going to go up, you're probably not going to go up at that kind of pace. So you're more likely to be looking for something up there. So remember, this is a daily chart that we're looking at here. So you've got plenty of time. So what you want to see, guys, is either a hold around somewhere here. We close above, we take out this high, we take out these highs, we close above, and then we look for a pullback into that zone. Now, let me just give you those levels so that you have them. Okay, 1 second. So the level that I'm referring to is around here, and it's 20,000. That's absolutely perfect. So that's exactly what we want to see. A nice round number, significant. So bullish bar, and then a bid around just above 20,000. Looking for, you know, you could take smaller trades on the hourly time frame, looking to go back towards this channel line. Now, scenario number 2 is this. We don't pull back here, okay, and like I said, we go back, we hold as resistance, and then we go lower. If that happens, then you're kind of going to be looking at really going back into this red box and potentially back towards this channel line here. And I want to see if I can give you some specific levels. So let me just see if there's any questions. Yep, I think I already answered that one. So yep, I'm looking at the daily time frame. Yep, top left, exactly, yep, daily time frame. So let's see if we can kind of look and see where that would actually come in. So right now, the market has basically gone back So here's our current, here's our A, B. The pullback here is roughly the 38.2, which gives us roughly a target of around 16,850 and maybe slightly lower towards 15.5. 16,850, 15.5. Now, if I just go with 15.5 for a second, out there. If this was to have a nice, pretty fast drop over the next couple of days, that looks like a really nice bounce area there. And maybe slightly lower, by the way, guys. You could be looking at, you know, this becomes just a zone. The 1618 is there, right there, which is a little bit higher, and then a little bit lower is here. Okay. The reason I'm looking at slightly lower is also because often the market will spike, and you can also see that it didn't quite reach the 38.2, so that normally leads to slight overextension as well. Okay, so I would then say that this area here becomes a really nice bounce area for a buy. Okay, now again, that doesn't mean you know, that we're going to be rallying to the all-time highs. Even if we did get down here, I'd be looking at potentially, you know, at this stage, you're still making lower lows and lower highs, just a bounce area. So I'd be looking at this from a trading point of view. You know, if you do trade momentum, then obviously you can trade this down. So I'll give you another scenario here. So let's say we have a strong close like this today. Okay, so this closes like this. And then, you know, and maybe even slightly lower ideally, so that we close below this line here. Okay. If you have a nice strong close, you could then say, okay, well, it's going to either bounce here or bounce here, and then potentially we're going to start to trade down. You can go to the hourly time frame in that case, and you can look for momentum trades if that's your style of trading. It's not my preferred style of trading. Okay, it's not my preferred style of trading, but you definitely can do that. So right now you can see this is what the hourly chart looks like. It's already got lots of strength to the downside. So we could plug in our fibs. I will do them manually, just like the sub fibs, A, B, and go ahead and ask any questions, by the way, as I do this. A, B, C, D is your D right there. And then we have a new A, B, 618 pullback. Is it a 618 or, yep, 618. We're gonna count this one here as your D right there. A, B, 38.2 pullback. Oh wow, interesting. We've just hit a very, very important level here. So I actually think this is not a bad area for a bounce here. Okay. The only kind of hesitation that I have right now is that it's gone down very, very aggressively. So what often happens, guys, is when the market goes down really, really aggressively, it doesn't often just, especially in this kind of climate, which is quite a bearish climate, it doesn't just bounce immediately. Okay, but this area here has got a double fib level. Okay, so it wouldn't surprise me to see the market at least pause right now. Now, again, like I said, buying it right now, for me, it's not necessarily the best play. I think you could get a bounce, but after dropping like this, is other bulls all of a sudden going to jump in and push this higher? Probably not, but I'd expect some buying to come in here. But the question is it just going to be kind of buying like this, consolidating, and then having another drop? Possibly. Okay, possibly. So let me just remove these. So what you can do instead is you can just kind of sit and wait and see how this closes and what it does. Okay, a good trader, guys, doesn't just jump in. Like, you know, you just sit and wait for the opportunity to be easy, to be obvious, and then you take the trade. So in this scenario here, I would wait. And I would let the market show me what it's going to do. Like if it kind of, and by the way, a little clue for you, if it stays low for a little while, it probably wants to go lower at some point. So it's like if there's just not enough demand coming in, even at these low prices, even at these double fib levels, the chances are, even if it does get that bounce, if it takes time, the likelihood is that we're probably going to want to go lower. So then you can start to look for, like I said, you can look for, retests of these diagonal lines, or this diagonal line, which is the 20,000 level, to basically take the short down. So, and if that becomes the case, and there is a short to be taken, and it's back at one of these kind of, in this block here, then you'd be looking at the next fib target to basically be in this block here. Now, let me give you those levels. Okay, so this is for the guys that want to do momentum trades towards this area. You'd be looking at the next target down to be around 18,000 to just shy of 18,000. So basically back towards these lows. And really that makes a lot of sense, because there's going to be some natural demand here, previous lows, but it doesn't mean, so it could be a case that, we do this and then the market bounces and then we do another push down towards those areas that we were talking about earlier on the higher time frames. So let me know if for anybody that is live, let me know if that all makes sense. I know some of you guys are just joining now, but you'll be able to watch the replay anyway. Let me see what's going on. Good morning, Snake Trader. So Nick, you're saying capital down fib is pointing to the yellow target at 16,000. Sub fib at fib, the A has been taken out today. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be little pockets of opportunities for day traders for sure. And I actually quite like this little zone down here. I think this makes a lot of sense. So going back to what I was saying before, I think right now, if we do get a little bounce, you could definitely start to look for momentum trades down. And the other thing you can do is you can just use counter trend lines. So if you kind of study how the trend has been going down, like I said, this is not an area right now to jump in short. We're at a double fib level. It's probably going to hold and maybe bounce a bit higher. But you can kind of look and see, right, okay, well, how has the market been going down? And you can see by just playing these kind of counter trend lines, you're doing pretty well. So you can just take this here, let the market do its thing, maybe consolidate, and then wait for that break of this line like that. And then you could take, my preference would be you take the short towards that next fib level, this zone down here, that 18,000 to 17,750, and you could place quite a tight stop either there just above the breakout or slightly higher above the last swing that gets created. So like I said, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily go long here right now. I think the drop is sharp, and I don't think you're going to be kind of sitting in this, and it could go lower as well. But the best play for me would be to wait. If you want to play momentum, is to wait for a bit of consolidation and then wait for a break of this kind of line here and look for that short opportunity. If we have a quick look, before we wrap up, guys, I'm going to have a quick little look at the weekly chart as well. To show you, let's have a little look to see what's been going on here on the weekly. So I'm just going to put in our weekly fibs in. So we have our AB right there, like that. And that gives us a D target of there, which in my opinion, that pretty much hit there. So we could take this and we would be now in our fade zone on the weekly chart, which actually is very, very interesting indeed, because have a look at this. So for those that understand fibs, this 15,000 level looks really, really interesting to me. Why? Because we have an old 200 extension on our 144 fib fade level. That is at 15,000, guys. That is a really, really nice buy zone in my opinion for a rally up. Okay, now like I said before, that, you know, when I say a rally up, doesn't necessarily, I'm not talking about, hey, this is now definitely going up and we're going to break the highs. We're just talking about a significant potential opportunity. You know, where is this market going to pull back to? So I like 50. I really like this area here. Okay, about 15,000 looks. Is that 15,000? Hold on, maybe I'm getting confused here. Maybe it's a bit higher. No, it is about 15,000. Let's scroll to the left. This might be an interesting one because, you know, the reality is, guys, when you're looking at a weekly chart, you know, it doesn't just stop on a line, right? It normally spikes down. And so what we always want to look for is previous price action. Now, if you have a look to the left, you can see just slightly below that is this level here, 13,866. So let me just take a horizontal line and plot it onto here, right? That, I really think that makes a lot of sense. Now, that might seem like a pretty low price, right? And you're thinking, hopefully it's not going to do that. Or is it really going to do that? But if you kind of look at what's happened here, that really isn't a big move. And I actually think that, so basically, in essence, around that 14,000, if you really want to kind of dollar cost average into Bitcoin and invest for the long term, that looks like a really, really good level to me. Now, that doesn't mean it can't go lower. It can, for sure. But I really would expect that this market is going to rally if we do hit that level. So what you could do is, if this market was to hit 14,000 and you were to buy it, you could look to get out on a bounce. And what I would always look for is a level. So if we just kind of go back over here, you can see there's a level there and there's a level, a big, really interesting level there. So I think that would make the most sense. Now that is doubling your money pretty much. So from 14,000, that move there is practically a 2x, okay? And you don't need to hold it at that point. You can get out if you want to, and then look again for a lower price, you know, to buy it, okay? Obviously, I haven't got a crystal ball. This is just kind of what I'm seeing as potential opportunities. So let me know if anybody's got any questions. And obviously, you know, as I said, this is an impromptu live. So, you know, for a lot of you guys in our Crypto and FX Traders Club, you'll be watching the replay. But since we have a few viewers that are live right now, if anybody has any questions, please let me know. But hopefully that's giving you some insights into, you know, how to take advantage of Bitcoin. Because the reality is, guys, is that we might stay in the doldrums for a little while longer, okay? But that doesn't mean that you have to suffer. You know, you can just be prepared. You know, you don't need to jump in, you know, at any old price. You can be patient. You can wait for the market to show you. You know, to make money in trading and investing really does require this skill of being patient and waiting and just kind of ignoring all of the kind of noise and the cry talk, because, you know, obviously nobody really wants to sit on on losses, or waiting for Bitcoin to go higher. But this is what makes markets. It's not just going to be easy where everything is always going up. But for you to really make money from this, you have to be patient. If you this is just an example. I don't have a lot of data on here, but you can see what Bitcoin did. From 2018 to 2020, didn't really do anything, right? A couple of years, it was just kind of sitting there, up and down, up and down. And if you imagine, if you're sitting in all of that, if you were part of all of that, you're like, oh my God, is this ever going to go up? Is it ever going to go up? Is it going to zero? And there's all sorts of news that are pushing the market lower and so on. But by being patient, you would have been well rewarded, obviously, if you'd taken your profit. And it's going to come the same case here. I do believe that Bitcoin will at some point go much higher. So I guess for you guys, if you have the same belief as me that Bitcoin will at some point go above its all-time high, then really it's just a waiting game, okay, and just being patient. Anybody got any questions? So it looks like we've got some interesting comments. Have to get rid of. I'll just hold on for another few minutes. See if anybody else has any other questions. Whilst I delete these interesting comments, that we definitely are not looking for anything like that. Well, certainly I'm not. I don't know about you guys. And then I will just see, and I can see that you've asked a question. Okay, so Nick, great tier as usual. Nice one, Andy. 12.5 to 15k definitely looks possible if we have another leg down. Yep, I really do think that. I think for me, like, it's just an opportunity to add to our holdings, at these sort of levels. Now, there's nothing that's not possible. There's nothing that's not possible. So we've seen huge drops in the past, and if we look at what happened, back in 2017 to 18, we had about an 85% drop. Let's see where does 85% take us to out of interest? So technically speaking, based on the past, an 85% drop will take you to about 10,341, which actually coincidentally happens to be a really nice, interesting level. It's a 1618 as well. So, that is definitely possible. It's happened in the past, and it's not even a million miles away from that. So, for me, if it happens, I'm actually pretty happy with that, because I'd rather be buying Bitcoin at 10k than 20k, because it means I can buy double the amount. Okay, and like I said, as long as you are a believer, and I assume you are, otherwise you wouldn't be watching these types of videos. as long as you're a believer that this is going to go at one point higher than where we are right now and higher than the all-time high, then if you think about it, if you can buy Bitcoin for 10K, you can 6x your money, or even more, 7x your money, just by going back to where we've been in the past. So that's you know, that's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah, drive carefully, SA. I don't want you to be having any accidents. Feel free to watch the replay. All right, guys. Hopefully you found that useful. Let me know in the comments when you do watch it if you want more of these types of sessions and anything else you want me to cover. So it doesn't have to be just Bitcoin. We can pick another one next week, maybe Ethereum, and we can do a live on it as well. Okay, guys. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for those that tuned in, and I will catch you again soon with another